Next up on WTV, Daylight Savings Time, a look at a parent-teacher orchestra, and today's Sports Minute. WTV's Daily Update starts now. Good morning, Red Hawk Nation. Today is Friday, November 2nd, and I'm Katarina Santos with today's Daily Update, brought to you by Wingspan TV. Daylight Savings Time starts on Sunday at 2 a.m. The U.S. adopted Daylight Savings Time during the winter a century ago, and some critics are looking to do away with the annual change. Visit libertywingspan.com for more information. On this week's edition of Real Talk, Wingspan's Pratyurja Shreya hits the halls to ask students about Daylight Savings Time.
This is WTV's Pratyurja Shreya with this week's edition of Real Talk, where I hit the halls to ask students about Daylight Savings Time. How do you feel about Daylight Savings Time?
I think it's really unnecessary because it makes it harder for people to get up in the morning, which means that they'll be a lot less productive.
I like it because it feels like I'm getting an hour of sleep.
It's cool, I guess. I mean, I like when isn't that when it's like, when the morning time is darker, right? Yeah, I like that. I like waking up to the dark.
I feel like it's okay because this is winter daylight savings time, right? So you get to sleep more, like 1 hour more, which makes me happy because I like to sleep. And that's really it. I just like to sleep.
That's it for this week's edition of Real Talk.
Once a week, an older crowd is receiving the gift of music for the first time in the orchestra hall. WTV's Kennedy Williams has the story.
Any student in band or orchestra can tell you that learning their instrument has been a long and often tedious process. But now, some staff members and parents are learning how to play orchestra instruments under the leadership of Assistant Director Victoria Lin as part of the Parent-Teacher Orchestra.
It came up originally with my high school director who teaches at Plano Senior High. They started about 3-4 years ago, and it just was something I was always interested in, but I never had the resources until I started grad school.
The orchestra meets every Wednesday after school from 6:30 to 7:30, where a typical rehearsal may include learning a new major scale, counting and clapping rhythms, and sight reading a new tune.
The ultimate goal for the Parent-Teacher Orchestra is to have a final performance with the kids and the parents performing alongside each other. But it's also to hopefully build a community within the parents and the directors so that we have our little place to be as well, and kind of change up the student-parent relationship at home.
It may surprise an orchestra student to know that their mom or dad has pulled a violin from the case for the first time and set their sights on someday becoming a skilled musician. But for freshman Keenan Sertau, this narrative has become a reality.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because I talked to my friends about it and stuff, about the parent orchestra, and none of them really said anything about their parents doing it. And then my dad, he said that he signed up. I was like, oh, okay. Because when I used to practice at home, when I practiced at home, he would talk. My parents make comments about how I play and stuff. But I feel like now they know the struggle of practicing at home and getting a song perfect.
Keenan's dad Nolan seemed to learn this lesson quickly.
I think it's it looks a lot easier than it is. If you don't practice in the week, you come back the next week and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't remember so much of what happened in the class last time. So, I think that's been the thing that, you learn as you take part, that, hey, this needs practice, I need to do this more often.
Not only does the orchestra shape the parent-to-child dynamic, but it has also given faculty on campus the chance to ignite their passion for music.
The violin not only expresses emotion, but it shows passion to the melodies that you can convey on a violin. For example, the quiet moods of Pachelbel's Canon in D. I mean, just to play a few bars of what these master composers were able to do is exhilarating to me. Exhilarating and exciting both.
For every member of this new ensemble, The lessons learned seem to extend beyond the bar lines of the music.
What surprises me the most is how people can come together so quickly. I mean, we've only been together a few weeks, and it's really sounded pretty good for people who really didn't know what they were doing to begin with, and I'm really surprised at that.
Reporting for Wingspan TV, I'm Kennedy Williams.
Here's today's Sports Minute, taking a look at last night's games.
In other news, volleyball played in the area championship for the second year in a row. The team dominated Newman Smith, winning each of the 3 sets by an average of 10 points, with help from both junior Jana Winnis and junior Emily Nickel, with Winnis having 9 kills and Nickel with 7 respectively. With the Redhawks completing the sweep, they will move on to the third round of playoffs against Lovejoy, the number 2 5A school in the state, according to the Texas Girls Coaches Association. Football played in arguably their best game of the year against the second-ranked team in district, Lone Star. The Redhawks kept it close for most of the game, trailing only 21-9 entering the third quarter. The team was aided by senior Mitchell Miller, throwing a season-high 297 passing yards. But towards the end of the game, the Rangers began to pull away with 2 quick touchdowns, ending with a final score of 35-9 in favor of Lone Star. For girls basketball, practice started on October 17th, followed by a scrimmage on Monday against Prosper. Now it's time for the team's first game as they travel south to take on Mansfield Timberview tonight. Timberview knocked the Redhawks out of the playoffs with a 50-27 win in the regional semifinals last year. For head coach Ross Reedy, the expectation for the season is to be competitive and ultimately successful. Tonight's game tips off at 6:30 p.m. at Mansfield Timberview. Continuing the back-to-back theme, cross country is going to state for the second straight year despite losing star runner Carrie Fish. The team departed for Round Rock yesterday.
Usually the week before, it's really crucial because we make sure to stay hydrated. We use that time to gather some morale as a team, get ready for state, prepare mentally and also physically.
The Redhawks cross-country team is set to race at 2:30 tomorrow at Old Settlers Park. For WTV Sports, I'm Davis O'Brien.
If you're looking for more from Wingspan, you can follow us at Liberty Wingspan on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our award-winning website, libertywingspan.com. WTV's Wade Glover has today's announcements.
NHS has a meeting Wednesday before school at 8:30 or during advisory in the auditorium. Students can nominate their peers or teachers to be Righteous Redhawks for exemplifying school values. Find a flyer in the hallway with the QR code to submit your nomination. LHS TED Ed Club is hosting their second discussion of the year today in the Humanities Room during advisory. The topic of the discussion is affirmative action. Come to explore new perspectives and have a chance to share your own ideas. You can drop off donations for Treats for Troops in the Rotunda this week. All donations will be sent to troops overseas. All boys interested in playing soccer who are not currently in soccer must see Coach Kaiser in room C112 before school or during advisory to try out.
That's it for today's Daily Update. This has been Katarina Santos for Wingspan TV.